What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Kangaroo Black, coming back once again to give y'all my top 3 SEC defenses heading into the 2024 season. I tried to come up with a fourth team, being there's 16 teams in the SEC now, but I just couldn't do it. I had Ole Miss, but I had to take Ole Miss off because I thought about Pete Golden and how terrible he is as a defensive coordinator and as a defensive play caller. Now, last season, Ole Miss, in critical times, the defense did step up and make some critical stops. But I don't trust Pete Golden, and you all know why. But anyway, Lane Kiffin, he addressed his defensive need via the transfer portal, as he always do. And I know for a fact he got 3 great pickups or 3 great transfers. One of them, Alabama DB Trey Amos. All right, then he got a Florida 4-year veteran defensive lineman, Princely. I can't think of his last name, but the guy's pretty good. But like I said, he's played 4 years for the University of Florida already. So he'll be a 5th-year senior, and he'll be playing at Ole Miss. Then they picked up Walter Nolan, Texas A&M defensive lineman, the best defensive lineman Texas A&M had. Ole Miss guys, they're comparing him to Robert Nkemdiche. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. He played with Ole Miss from I know back 2014, maybe 2015, but he was a hell of a defensive lineman. So they comparing Walter Nolan to him. So if you played Ole Miss 2014, 15, or whatever, you know about Robert Nkemdiche. He was damn good. So they comparing Walter Nolan to him. And they saying Walter Nolan is probably quicker and faster than Robert Nkemdiche. So, but I don't know. So but I know Nkemdiche was a hell of a damn defensive lineman for Ole Miss. Matter of fact, I think those were the 2 years that Ole Miss beat us with Hugh Freeze, I think. And guess what? Kane Womack's daddy was the defense coordinator at that time. So, hey, it is what it is. But I had to take Ole Miss off the list simply because I don't trust Pete Golden. But let's get to the list. No particular order, okay? I just got 3 teams that I think going to have the best defense in the SEC. All right. Texas, who gave up 18 points a game last year, but I'm not talking about last season. This is about this season, who they got coming back. All right. And they got some pretty good guys coming back. One of them, defensive lineman, Ethan Burke, who had 9 tackles for loss last season, 5.5 sacks. All right. Also, they bringing back linebacker Anthony Hill Jr., who had 8 tackles for loss last season, 5 sacks. They got a Trey Moore, linebacker from UTSA. I believe he's played at UTSA for 4 years, I believe, and now he's coming to Texas, show off his talents. Last season, this guy had 17.5 tackles for loss, 14 sacks. Jesus, that's almost Will Anderson numbers. Then on top of that, he had an interception, 9 pass deflections, 2 fumble recoveries, 3 forced fumbles from the linebacker position. That is Trey Moore from UTSA. And I think that's the best defensive pickup they got out of the transfer portal. All right, we know they got some incoming freshmen coming in. One of them is that already came in. One of them, freshman, Colin Simmons, 5-star. All right, he's the number 2 defensive end in the 2024 class. So they got him coming in. Will he contribute in 2024? Don't know. But, he's added depth. I think he can contribute. You never know. Might be another Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner came in his freshman season, got 8.5 sacks. So he could be one of those type of linebackers or edge rushers or whatever. So, hey, but I got Texas as one of my top 3 defenses in 2024. Okay, so, but, Texas. I wish we was playing them again this year, but we ain't. so we can get our, revenge on them for beating us in Tuscaloosa last season. But hey, it is what it is. We know Georgia got to play Texas. So hey, that'll be a good game to watch also. But anyway, next up on my list of top 3 defenses in 2024, as far as the SEC, is my Alabama Crimson Tide. I know we didn't look the best in our spring game as far as the defense, but hey, it's only the spring game. And as you know, I watched the Bama Standard and the Bama Standard. Those guys, if you haven't watched the Bama Standard or don't know what it is, type in the Bama Standard on YouTube and go watch those guys, man. Go watch those guys with Justin Riley and all those guys. Go watch them. Go watch them. Great show, but they had Tim Keenan on their show, and he talked about the spring game, and he was like, yeah, we had a bad day today. But in practice, it's not like that. They just had a bad day. Fine. Okay? It's all good. Can't take too much from a spring game. But anyway, my Alabama Crimson Tide will have a top 3 SEC defense in 2024. Yeah, we lost a lot of guys on that defense, all right? But I'm not going to talk about those guys because they won't be able to be there to help us in 2024 or contribute to the team, okay? So, hey, let's talk about the guys that we got coming back. But also I want to mention that Alabama only gave up 19 points a game last season, all right? But anyway, and on top of that, 2 of the defensive coaches was head coaches last season. Secondary coach Maurice Linguist, he was a head coach for Buffalo last season. Then our defense coordinator Kane Womack was a head coach for South Alabama last season. Okay, so how do you get to be a head coach? At being the best at what you do. So Kane Womack was the best at being a defensive coordinator. So at South Alabama, so they gave him a head coaching job. Maurice Linguist was the best at being a defensive back coach wherever he was. They made him a head coach. But they took a step down to come to my Alabama Crimson Tide and coach up these guys. All right, so hey, it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, defensive coordinator Kane Womack. Yeah, he was a head coach at South Alabama. I'll be thinking about damn South Florida. But anyway, who we got returning on defense for my Alabama Crimson Tide? We ain't totally depleted like people thought we was. Jaheim Otis, defensive lineman Jaheim Otis. Defensive lineman Tim Keenan. Defensive lineman Damon Payne. Defensive lineman Tim Smith. Yes, we got guys coming back. Linebacker Jahad Campbell. Linebacker linebacker, shit, how did I forget this guy? Deontay Lawson. Yeah. So that's 2 of our linebackers that coming back. Jahad Campbell, he was a starter a lot of the season, and Deontay Lawson started the whole season. Jaheim Otis starter. Tim Keenan starter. Who else was a starter on the offensive line? Jaheim Otis, Tim Keenan. I believe Tim Smith was a starter too. So, hey, we got guys coming back. The secondary, we got Malachi Moore coming back. We got Devontae Smith, Malachi Moore, Devontae Smith. I think Malachi Moore was a starter. Devontae Smith was hurt a lot of the season, like he's been throughout his career. I hope he can stay healthy this season. And then we got some transfers to help out in the defensive backfield. We got Michigan safety Keon Saw, and we got USC cornerback Damani Jackson. I think both of them will be starters. So hey, we're gonna be all right on the defensive side of the ball, and my Alabama Crimson Tide will be a top 3 defense in 2024. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. Don't never bet against the Tide. I'm telling you now. I don't care what you saw in that spring game. And I don't care what you, took from the spring game as far as the defense. They was calling us Swiss cheese as far as our defense. Okay, we'll see about that in 2024. And I bet you see something totally different. All right? Like I said, my Alabama Crimson Tide will have a top 3 defense in 2024. Top 3 defense in the SEC, I might add. I'm not saying all of college football, which, it just might be that way. But it ain't. But let's move on. Let's move on. The last team that I think will have a top 3 defense, SEC defense, is the Georgia Bulldogs. And they seem to always have a good defense. Kirby Smart, he was a great defensive coordinator. He turned out to be a great head coach. All right. I can say, as of right now, since the great one Nick Saban has retired, Kirby Smart is possibly the best head coach in all of college football. I can say that for now. But Coach Kalen DeBoer just might prove me wrong. But anyway, I ain't going to get into that. But Georgia, they have some great defenses. As a matter of fact, last season, Georgia only gave up 15 points a game. I mean, the schedule was pretty easy. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, they only gave up 15 points a game. I ain't going to get into the UABs and the Ball States and the Georgia Techs and the South Carolinas and the Vanderbilts. I ain't going to get into all that. But let's not forget about Tennessee Martin. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That was last year. We talking about 2024. But anyway, they lost some key pieces off that defense too. But they got a couple of guys coming back. They got Malachi Moore coming back. They got Nazir Stackhouse coming back. So they got some people. Plus they picked up a couple of transfers. But the guys that they got coming back, they got linebacker Jalen Walker coming back, 7.5 tackles for loss and 5 sacks last season. They got defensive lineman, like I said, Nazir Stackhouse, who had 8 tackles for loss last season, 3 sacks. Well, not last season. I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, defensive lineman Mikael Williams, 6.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks last season. Not bad. Then they got I don't know how you smell Monday. I guess that's how you pronounce his name. Linebacker, 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks last season. The guy was in on 6 to 8 total tackles. 42 of them was solo from the linebacker position. That's damn good. Then, like I say, Malachi Starks is coming back. 3 interceptions last season, 7 pass deflections. Okay, so, and Malachi Starks is that dude too. Malachi Starks been balling since he, came to since his freshman season. I think his last year before last, 2022, was better than his 2023 season. But Malachi Starks is a baller. I'm telling you that now. And I think Malachi Starks, if he ball out this season, he possibly could be or go in the first round on the NFL draft. If not, early second round. That's just me. But anyway, Nazir Stackhouse, he coming back. And they say he is a key piece to that defensive front. But Nazir Stackhouse, he got 8 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 1 pass deflection. And that's over the course of 4 years. That's not too good. But hey, it is what it is. He coming back for his 5th season. So hey, he might have a breakout season. And they saying he could stack up, be one of those guys like a daggone Jalen Carter. What the other name? Jordan Davis, which I still don't think Jordan Davis is all that good. I think he was overrated. That's just me. Now Jalen Carter is a different story. But anyway, he was damn good, in my opinion, in a lot of other people's opinion. But that's just my opinion about Jordan Davis. Hey, I'm just a fan. But anyway, those are the guys that they got coming back. They also picked up Alabama transfer defensive back Jake Pope. All right, so he didn't get that. He really didn't get any playing time at Alabama, but I think he could help that Georgia secondary. I think he's a good secondary. I ain't saying great, but I think he's a good secondary piece. You know, I think he's a safety, I believe, Jake Pope, and he can be back there without Malachi Starks. You know, some players make other players better, and then Jake Pope, for spring games for Alabama, he played great, but I guess he was for just a depth piece for Alabama. But anyway, they got Jake Pope. Then they got a South Carolina transfer DB, KJ Bolden. Don't know much about him, so hey, I can't talk too much about him. But they do got a new secondary coach, former Alabama secondary coach, Tavares Robinson. All right, so hey, it is what it is. But those are my 3 teams that I think, well, my top 3, well, 3 teams that I think will have top 3 defenses in the SEC in the heading into the 2024 season. Texas, Alabama, Georgia, in no particular order. All right, we already know all the sports media outlets got Georgia as most of them got Georgia as the #1 team. I think they changed it last week. One of these ranking systems and put Texas at #1, but most of them got Georgia at #1. And as far as the SEC, they got Georgia having the #1 defense. So, hey, I don't have no qualms with it. Hey, it is what it is. As a matter of fact, SEC Unfiltered, they got the top 5 defenses listed. And they got Georgia at #1. I couldn't put Ole Miss on my list because of Pete Golden, but SEC Unfiltered got Ole Miss at #2. They got Missouri at #3 somehow, Alabama at #4, and Texas at #5. So, hey, it is what it is. But that's the SEC Unfiltered top 5. But my top 3, Texas, Alabama, Georgia. No particular order. So that's all I got for y'all now. And I'll talk to y'all later. And y'all be blessed. And don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. And roll damn Tide.